Hi, everyone. Today we have a really interesting show for you. My guest is Wheeler, and Donita has a wonderful story. She was a stay at home mom and a former first grade teacher, but then she was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And once she became a survivor, she knew it was time for her to use her knowledge from the cancer to start her business called Mama Bear Cancer Support. She survived the cancer and is now using her life experience to guide her as Mama Bear, in addition to being a certified life coach and a certified cancer coach, as well as a certified teacher. So she's taking her experiences and guiding them for you and to work with you through this cancer experience. Welcome, Donita.
Hi, it's so great to be with you. Thank you, Dr. Carson, for having me on the show today. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. And as you know, I'm a three-time cancer survivor and have had 16 surgeries. And as a matter of fact, on Monday, I was telling our producer, Joe, that on Monday I had cancer removed from my scalp, which evidently
Oh,
got
no.
there when I was a kid, I was told. And anyway, I said, I have a hole in my head. So, and I literally have a hole in my head. They went all the way down to the skull. So
Oh,
when people
no.
say, "Oh, you got a hole in your head now," I can really testify that I do. But I can identify with just about everything you went through, maybe not quite as much, but at least a little bit. So why do you think, and this is, I guess, where we should start, how does your personal story aid to your empathy for clients? I would think, you've been through a lot, you understand what they're going through, but how does this really, what have people said to you?
Um, I think people have said to me that they appreciate how my understanding aligns with their thought process. They are constantly saying nobody understands what it's like. They want to pretend that they understand, but they really don't. And I think just having been through it myself gives me the empathy to be able to say, yes, I understand what you're saying. Let's take that comment and that thought process and turn it around so it's a positive thing for you and you can use it to grow from. I can't speak to each individual's experience, but I can use my own experiences to guide other people to know for someone who hasn't been through cancer. Like I don't have much on the caregiver's point of view, but unfortunately, I think I'm about to. We had a recent family diagnosis, and I think I'm going to experience caregiving as well, which I think is good for my business. Unfortunate for our family, but good for our business. And we all go through a similar journey. Everybody's slightly different here and there, but we all go through a similar journey. And I just try to use that to propel the client to be able to be their best no matter where they are in the journey. Because as you know, Dr. Carson, it's a really hard journey.
Well, it is a hard journey. I mean, I was very fortunate, Donita. I mean, I certainly have gone through radiation a couple of times. I've had chemo, all the surgery. So, but I went through it well. And I think I went through it well because I was busy. I mean, I never stopped doing what I was doing. I continued speaking. I had to cut travel because I had to be here for the radiation treatments. The chemo was once a week, but the radiation was every day. So I did have to curtail a few things, but I really kept very busy. And I found that I didn't get sick. I was very lucky. I didn't throw up and I didn't get nauseous and I was just very, very lucky. So what I would like to ask you is what are some of the things that your clients talk to you about? What are the things that they're asking you? What are the things that come forefront to their mind?
A lot of it is a lot of my clients are survivors, and they want to be kind of like me and you and do something with their experience. So they kind of ask me how I got started or why I got started, what I do, if I could help them, guide them through what they feel like their new journey should be. They also ask me like different questions. Like I was very sick. When I had my first chemo, I couldn't move for 2 days. I couldn't get out of the bed. So I had to be carried to the bathroom, and it was really and I have never felt that way. And I think just a lot of the questions are like, did you feel this way? Did you feel that way? What if I don't feel this way? Should I feel? And, you just have to, it's so individual. You really have to get to know the person and kind of get a little background on them. But they ask a lot of questions about where they are in the procedure. Sometimes they'll ask me medical questions, and I will just say, that's not my expertise at all. I think you should talk to your doctor. But I help them to write down specific questions that they could ask their doctors, because, as you know, your brain kind of freezes a little bit, and you don't always know. You think you're going to remember everything from the doctor, but you don't always. And it's just better if you write it down. So a lot of the questions are things like that. I have one client who is a caregiver for their spouse, and I get a lot of questions, because they have young children, and my children were young at the time. And, just how we handled that with our kids. How did we talk to kids? What did we say to them? How did we introduce the cancer diagnosis in the family? Things like that. They asked me, products I use and what I found to use as a survivor, what I found, a lot of my research that I do is personal research, but then I also do research. If they ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I will go and find the answer for them. That's kind of what I like to do to be. It's really basically, I feel like I was a first grade teacher, and I was a mom for so long. I still am a mom, but, a very intense mom, not quite a helicopter, probably a little bit. But, I just try to learn everything I can about it so that I can be helpful to anybody. I just don't want anybody to feel like they're alone or that they don't have support, even though your family is around you and they say, oh, we'll do anything for you. Sometimes they kind of, they get tired of it. And
well, let me ask you a couple of things here. When you say survivors, are they coming to you during their treatment, or are they coming to you after the treatment? I assume they're
one that's in treatment, and several that were post treatment. One has just started. So just all cycles of the cancer journey have talked to me.
Well, the interesting thing is, when I had my first case, and since it was 3 times, and there was between the first and the third, there was an 18-year gap. So you can imagine how frustrated I was with the third. But on the first one, this was when very soon after Gloria Steinem was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was asked, how it changed her life. And she said, oh, I reevaluated everything. And yet I have to tell you, Donita, I did not do that. I loved everything I was doing. I still love everything I do. And I really didn't change at all. I didn't change my workout. I continued to work out through everything. I didn't change my speaking or my schedule, except for the 6 weeks I had to stay home for the radiation. And even then there was like a July 4th or something in there. And there was a speaking engagement on the 3rd. And I said, well, if I can miss the 4th, then I can miss the 3rd. And I did. I went and I did my speaking engagement, and it was in the middle of July outside. So you can imagine how hot it was. But I did it, and I got back. But then I found out, of course, they measure how many treatments you have and then the intensity of the radiation and all of that. So I really didn't change. And to this day, I'm still working out every day and still doing what I love and still working intently. So did being a cancer survivor change your outlook on life?
Oh, yes. I commend you for not for being able to do all of that. That is an excellent outcome. And you are really strong and brave. And I think that's incredible. I didn't have that same experience. It did cause me to reevaluate everything in my life. And I think it taught me to appreciate life and to slow down a little bit, not worry so much about the laundry and the dishes, but maybe spend some quality time with my kids and family. And I got into yoga, And I loved yoga. I wasn't able to work out during my treatments. I was very bedbound and spent a lot of time in the bed, and just it was a chore for me just to go downstairs. So I didn't. I wish I had your experience. It was really a chore, but it was good. It was good for me. I maybe I had gotten complacent with life, or I didn't have a choice. It's not like I could say, "Cancer, go back. I don't want you." I had to deal with what was in front of me. And for me, it was a real catalyst to maybe where I had gotten complacent and not doing things. And maybe I had gotten a little in a routine that needed a little stirring. So I used it to turn and to evaluate my priorities and my behavior. I examined past relationships, to recognize who I was devoting my energy to and where it was going. And I tried to be less judgmental, more forgiving. I've gone organic in my life, not just in my diet, but with my food, my mind, my soul, my relationships. All of those things are much brighter and much better than before. And I really, I resolved to no longer tolerate hidden agendas or people that want to drag me down with negativity. I've educated myself. I've learned how to assert myself, to have my needs fulfilled. I just really have taken a complete turnaround from who I was before. Before I was a very yes person. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Now I'm a I will think about it person. And if it doesn't serve me, then that's okay. But it did require cancer for me to get there. And I know that's a strong statement, but it definitely is it definitely was the journey that I took. It was really awakening. I had a lot of time to lay there in the bed and think about stuff. So
well, that's a good place to do that. I realize as I read more and more cancer stories, I realize how fortunate I was. You're not going to believe this, Donita, and I don't know about the listeners. They're going to think I'm crazy, but I even had my bunions removed during
go you. That's awesome.
during chemo, and the doctor said, well, if you can come in here and even ask the question, then you're ready for this. And it was very natural. They put I don't know, they gave me a pill and put headphones on me with Mozart, and did it naturally. I had no bones no anything in my feet, and I was walking and driving and everything within 2 weeks. So I was just.
Well, I think you should wear. Do you have a little S under your shirt when you open your shirt? There's a little S for Superwoman in there.
Well, but what I would like to ask you. You use certain tools and techniques. So what are those that you incorporate into the program that you do? I mean, what kinds of things do you use to help people?
I use my own cancer journey and my background as a teacher as my main tools, and I use my education and my connections with those in their cancer journey. I use the client and their personal situations as my techniques, hence the coaching. They're mostly unique situations that require personalized service. So I am consistently using all my teaching background knowledge and my knowledge from my certifications to build. I have a special talent, if you will. I can recognize patterns really easily, if anything from mahjong to people. And I have always been one of those people that can see a pattern immediately. And I can, when I recognize it in a person, I use my ability to recognize patterns as an ability to help people with their personal pattern, if that makes sense. It's a very strange talent that I have.
So is this what sets you apart from others that offer similar services? I mean, I didn't even know there were cancer coaches, truthfully. So is that what sets you apart? And I mean, how do people find you or come to you?
Well, I have a website at www.mamabearcancercoach.com. I also have a unique system with my service for payment. I don't charge anything. I'm on a pay-as-you-see-fit basis because, as you know, cancer can be very expensive. You can find me at www.mamabearcancercoach.com.